Welcome to Arivu Parimatram channel. Today we are going to see how to create a PostgreSQL database instance in AWS RDS. Please make sure you are having a active AWS account. This is a new console, so I have already used certain services. So you are seeing recently visited services and other services in the current console. Okay. Whether you are using new or old, please go ahead on the top search bar and go and search for RDS. So the RDS stands for Relational Database Services. Once you search, you will get list of services. In that, please select RDS. I have cleared all my previous database to make sure like when we start the application how it will look. So here is the database. I'm going to create a database from here. So and as you can see here, I am using Mumbai region and I'm going to create database from using the option create database. Create database will give you certain options. So the first one is like the database creation method. There are two types of method here. One is a standard creation and another one is a easy create. Standard create, we are going to give all the options. In easy create, recommended options will be already added to create the database, but we are going to follow a standard create. There are various types of engine options. In this topic we are going to cover PostgreSQL. It's almost same configuration for even other database as well, with a few changes here and there. As you can see, there are n number of PostgreSQL versions. We are going to follow the latest recommended standard one, 13.4.r1. And to create the PostgreSQL, we have three types of templates. One is a production, dev or test, free tier. As the name suggests, accordingly we should use the templates. And I'm going to use a free tier template. And for production is also almost same with few configurations we enabling it. Now this talks about the DB settings, DB instance identifier. This is nothing but the instance identifier name and not our database name. And here we are going to give the master name to our DB instance and the password. Generally like our master username is Arivu and password, generally auto password is good, but I'm going to create my own password. Please make sure the new master password and confirm password is matching each other. And also as the constraints mentioned, we cannot use @ single quote and double quote in the password. Now the instance configuration, since I have selected a free tier, we will be able to see the instance machines type of which is applicable for free tier. If we give production, all the other machines will be visible. As per our need, we can select any particular machine type. Okay, here since free tier, I will keep as it is t3.micro. And this talks about the storage, and I'm going to use general purpose SSD storage and allocated storage. So how much ever the storage you wanted, accordingly you can allocate it. This option provides an option to enable auto scaling. That means after reaching a specific threshold we can exit it easily. And what is the maximum threshold also we can mention it here. And the next part is about the connectivity. Maximum threshold we talked already. So this is about the maximum threshold. And the next part is connectivity. It's a IPv4 connectivity I'm going to use, and virtual private cloud I'm going to leave as it is, or if you want create a new one. So just for learning purpose, I'm going to, it's a good to create a new virtual private cloud for an entire application and try to keep all the services into your single VPC. And there are like public access. This virtual private cloud is directly or indirectly linked with the public access. In case if you give as a public access no, that means all the services under the same VPC only can talk to each other. That means we cannot connect from our local machine to the RDS PostgreSQL instance. So now I'm going to keep it as open because we are going to connect it from our TablePlus application, which is I will be showing it in the later stage. And the security groups is very important because it is a place where we will tell like which machine can access the currently which machine can access this RDS instance which we are creating in the AWS. And the availability zones or different zones are there, so I am giving the option as I don't have any preferences as of now. And we are just going to create a new private security groups for us. Yeah, it's up to us. We can create and choose default one, but it's good to curate our own security groups with a proper name, so easy to identify in the future as well. So I'm creating a new security group as Arivu test DB. And the additional configuration is talks about the database port. So the default port for PostgreSQL is 5432. If you want to add an additional security to the existing PostgreSQL setup, you can give a random port number, and that port number we can use it for connecting to this PostgreSQL database setup. So but I'm going to leave as it is for now, so it depends on us how we wanted it. And database authentication, we are going to follow password authentication. That means you have to use username and password, which we created in the settings page, and which we created settings in the just some time back. And the additional configuration is like, I'm going to create an initial database. This will be good for us. So when we create DB instances, we are telling to them to create an initial database as well with the name Arivu. The other options are like a default options which AWS is providing to us. For example, enable backup and how much period you wanted to take a backup, and when you take a backup, copy the tags used in the backup and how many and n number of days, and like this other options I'm leaving as it is as a default. You can change it according to your needs. So if you have any doubts, you can change it as per your needs. And as the info is there in every place, you can easily open and check the information about this particular option at any point of time. Here I'm going to leave as it is few of the options because it doesn't matter for us because we're in a free tier. And if you want to enable monitoring, you can give the monitoring option as well. If you click that option, it will show what type of a monitoring you wanted and what type of other options will be shown there. And with respect to log exports, what are the types of logs? For example, upgrade log or PostgreSQL logs, all the query logs maybe will be enabled for this option if needed. And how, when it's maintenance, like how the maintenance can run, when it can run the upgrade, all those other options can be configured in this place. And the delete production, this is an important option when we are creating a production ready database. This is enable this option in order to avoid an accidental deletion of any production DB. In testing or other cases, it's not needed, but it's always good to have feature, good to use feature. Now your estimated monthly cost and other things can be calculated here. And now I'm creating the database. So once you click the create database, it's gonna take some time for us to set up the database. As you can see in the top, it is going to take some few minutes of time to create, configure the backup setups and everything. And once it is prompts up, then we will get all the details about the DB instances, about this DB instance. As you see here, like previously we mentioned, our database identified name as Arivu, and the same is being visible here. I'm just refreshing to see whether it is ready or not. Yeah, as you can see, currently the status is backing up, so it's creating a backup. Yes, now our the status of our DB instance is ready. So let's it shows the status as available. Now let's go inside the DB instance and try to find all the details. You can see endpoint and port is already assigned for this DB instance, so we can use the same endpoint as a host. And a virtual private cloud is also created for this, and also the security groups, virtual private security groups, which we told them to create as per our name, is also created for this DB instance. Okay, now I'm going to edit this security groups, because in order to access the PostgreSQL from any place, we need to open a certain port which is called 5432 for the PostgreSQL. Now when you open for the very first time, it will come something like this will be visible. Here I have already added the my IP addresses, but I will just delete it to show freshly from beginning how to add it. So I'll just delete it. It will be something like this, or with the virtual private cloud rule alone will be configured already. So in order to enable the configuration, now I'm going to create a PostgreSQL as a type, which will say the port range 5432, and now I have added the option as 0. As you can see here, I have we can keep it open to all, or if you keep it open to all, anyone can connect to our database instance. Okay, but I'm going to restrict only to my public IP address, so that only I can access this database from my current location only. So now the other thing is, like, if you keep it open, it is like open to everyone. So the recommended approach is not to keep it open. And the next option is like, for example, one is from my machine, and if you have any production server, and take that IP address and assign it here to this place and make it mark it as server IP. So that means this DB instance can be accessed only by these two IP address. For now, I'm going to keep only my IP address and save it. And once it is saved, let's go back to RDS and check our instances details. Let's go inside and check it out. So connectivity and everything is fine now. And as I mentioned in some part of my video before, we are going to use TablePlus Mac OS desktop application to connect to our PostgreSQL and verify for the DB and everything is created fine or not. Or even after moving to production, we can always use this place to check the databases. Now in this, click create new connection and select PostgreSQL. In the name, give any label which you wanted as an identifier. And so this is a PostgreSQL, and then next is the host name. Copy the host name, that is the endpoint, from this location and put it in the host name. And the next one is you can select any type of a color to color as an identifier. This TablePlus provides an options like which tag you can assign. For example, it's a local database or production or staging or testing. So this is a staging for testing for us. And the port is 5432. As I mentioned before, like you can change any random port number, so people can never predict which port number it is, and enter the username, password, and the database name in this section, and click test. And I'm going to click test to check whether the connection is proper or not. As the color shows, it's a green, which means our connection is proper. So now you can click connect, which will connect to our PostgreSQL RDS database hosted in AWS. And you can see the current database is also Ariba, because our initial database created is Ariba. So that's it. So in other parts of my videos, I will upload about how the database is being out, demo about the TablePlus. And you can see the CPU percentage and overall utilization, everything in this location. That's it, guys. Yep. If you want to modify, you can click modify and come and check it here. And that's it. With this, today's session is over. Thank you so much.